Some obviously major opposition, and not just from Republicans, of course. The more Democrats and conservative states hear from their constituents, the more harder it becomes to pass something new in terms of gun legislation. Nevertheless, today, several Democrats, led by Senator Dianne Feinstein, introduced or reintroduced a bill to reintroduce the ban on military-style assault weapons.
We should be outraged by how easy it is for perpetrators of these horrific crimes to obtain powerful military-style weapons. Today, my colleagues and I are introducing a bill to prohibit the sale, transfer, manufacture, and importation of assault weapons and large-capacity ammunition feeding devices that can accept more than 10 rounds.
Well, does Feinstein's bill have a chance of passing? That's a good question for our strategists today, our political strategists. We're going to hear about them and the new Republican efforts, of course, to change the Electoral College by reallocating the votes according to congressional district. Let's talk about that. Republicans want to do away with the winner-takes-all system in states we've all gotten used to for the last couple hundred years, and they voted with the Democrats in recent elections. So are the Republicans going to monkey around with the Electoral College in order to win? That's our second question. Let's start with the first one with Steve McMahon. He's a Democratic strategist, and Robert Costa is Washington editor for the renowned National Review. Steve, let's talk politics, and I hope you can do this honestly. I don't know what your current constituency is or who you have to work with, but it seems to me there's a national consensus, right, left, and center, or at least right and center, on doing something on background checks. People with mental, emotional problems, with criminal records, should not get a gun, at least in a formal transaction where you can stop it. I'm not sure we're ready to go for the assault weapons ban again because of the opposition by the NRA and the Gun Owners of America, whatever they're called. Your thoughts?
Well, I think this is where the rubber meets the road. If you're a Democrat and you're from one of those purple states where, you know, elections are very close all the time, this is a very tough vote for you. But frankly, it's why you're a Democrat. I mean, there is widespread agreement on background checks. There's widespread agreement on these magazines that can hold up to 100 rounds. And the assault weapons ban is where it gets kind of tough for Democrats. But I think those Democrats who don't want to vote for an assault weapons ban might find a Tea Party on the left, a primary, somebody who's a little bit more liberal, who's a little bit more progressive and a little bit more willing to do these things. It was something that Bill Clinton passed in 1994, and nobody in America was outraged at the time. No hunters stopped hunting, and it wasn't really any threat to the Second Amendment. It isn't any more today than it was then.
Go ahead, Robert, your thoughts. Was he too optimistic for gun control there?
I think so. I was down in Williamsburg, Virginia for that House Republican retreat, and I was talking to a lot of Republican members, and they said, look, Sandy Hook's such a big tragedy. What are Republicans going to do to respond to this legislatively? Is there anything Republicans can do? And they said background checks and enforcement. So though Senator Feinstein got a lot of attention today for her press conference, what I'm really watching is Senator Patrick Leahy, because he has...
I agree. He's the star. He's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate.
That's right.
And what is his role?
And his role, he has another piece of legislation that's aligned with Senator Feinstein, but it's different. It's all about enforcement. And this enforcement issue of making the laws tougher, of helping out cops to enforce the gun laws, this is something I think Republicans behind the scenes are privately already working with Democrats.
Do you think, Steve, you sound optimistic about gun control. Do you believe the United States Senate, which is run by Democrats now, 55 seats are Democrat, will they pass a bill that the House will then have to swallow? Will they do something real that they can take to conference and possibly get signed by the president? Because they've got to take the lead. The House ain't going to do it.
I think if the president takes the lead and he takes the case to the country, I think the Senate will pass something. Pat Leahy is a great example of, frankly, the challenge here because he's from a state where people value their guns. But once hunters understand, and most hunters do understand, that this isn't a threat to their ability to hunt, this is a threat to those people who hunt other people with assault weapons and kill dozens at a time very quickly if they want to. And it will get to the House, and the House, you know, is going to have a tough vote. By the way, Chris, there's one other thing in this bill. It also bans rocket launchers and grenade launchers. And I don't want to be
fair. I think we can go with that one. Yeah,
I don't want to be the Republican who votes against that bill.
I just think they got to get something done after Newtown for the parents and the survivors of that alone. Just get something done. Don't talk. I think the background check thing is something we could actually get done this spring. I don't know how anybody can vote against that, not how far right. Let's talk about this Electoral College game. All our lives, maybe for the rest of our lives, we'll elect by state. There were a collection of 50 states. Republicans, conservatives especially believe in statehood as the key to the